Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. How is everybody? How was your weekend? How's everybody tonight? What you up to? Have you already finished all of your painting like a certain Mr. Matt Mountain? Just been chatting on Facebook there. We'll come to that. As you can see, we've got a bit of a change of scenery tonight. So the reason for that is my wife's away with work tonight, so I'm home alone with the little one. So I'm on baby duty. So should he start crying, I might have to dash off. So no barn owls tonight, but there might be a crying baby. And I didn't want to be kind of away in the studio in the garage there and have a bit of a kind of a run through the house. So I'm in my living room, which is why there's a TV and a Christmas tree and not all of my board games. So how is everyone? Who have we got here? Let's have a look. We got quite a few folks already in the chat. So of course, my laptop's refusing to work now. So, I forget who it was now. It might have been... There was somebody in really early. It said about 3 hours to go, but it's dropped off the chat now, and I forget who it was. It'll come back to me. But we've got Simon Voyle, who was in earlier on. So if Simon's in, good evening, Simon. Glyn was in just before the chat started while I was getting set up as well. So evening, Glyn, if you're still around. He was asking how I got on at Winter's End. I briefly mentioned it in the chat there, but I'll come on to that in a bit. Because some of Winter's End has almost prompted the topic for tonight. We've got Mark Berracloth as well. Good evening, Mark. How are you, buddy? Phil Wilkinson was waiting patiently as well, watching some of my other videos while I was waiting for this one to start. So thanks for that, mate. We also had Bloggy pop in as well, just to say hi. He's had a bit of bad news and he's not going to make the stream tonight. So wishing you and your family well, buddy, if you watch this back later. We've got the Fomorian in as well, says good evening. Good evening, Fomorian. We've also got Stuart Noble in. Evening, Stu. Hope you're well, mate. We've got Stephen from Steve Small World. Evening, mate. Hal says, Andy, what's shaking, good man? Feeling pretty good, mate. Felt a bit ropey this morning, I'll be honest, after had a bit of a late night on Saturday night after a few too many beers with a certain Mr. Paul Welsh. And then yesterday was quite a long day for doing the tournament after that. So I slept well last night, let's just say. But yeah, feeling pretty good now, mate. Thanks for asking. We've got Ian Scammon says hello from an absolutely freezing Cumbria. Yeah, it's not too great here either, buddy. Harley's saying he's getting ready for a trip to the Grand Cayman Islands for 2 weeks of diving. Going to miss my stuff, but hey, the fish will compensate. I think I'd gladly miss a couple of weeks of live stream as well, mate, to go to the Caymans. Enjoy it, buddy, if I forget to say so. We've got Robert Marshland as well, says oi oi. Oi oi, Robert, how you doing, buddy? Matt is saying hey, evening to the BlackJackers, hope you're all well. Hashtag Mantic Monday. He's been painting a little bit of Walking Dead stuff. He did have it all set aside, ready to paint during the stream, and then just because he's Matt Mountain, he finished it all before the stream even started. And they look bloody amazing. So what are you painting now, Matt? What have you picked up to do instead? We've got... the light's on my screen there. We've got Malkavian in. Good evening, Michael. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you enjoyed your day yesterday as well. So Michael and I played the first game yesterday on the live stream. If you haven't watched that, head over and check it out later. Skullmunch says, evening, fella. You got a cold? I think it's actually probably a bit of a beer cold, mate, after a bit of boozy Saturday night and then a day of gaming in the gaming hall all day and then a long drive home. Either that or I'm coming down with a bit of cold. Either way, I think it's self-inflicted. But thank you. We've got Dustin in as well. Gamers ADHD. He says, g'day. Hello, buddy. Or good morning to you, I should say. Dustin over there in New Zealand. Quite a long, unless you're on holiday or something, buddy. But yeah, nobody in New Zealand anyway. We've got the Fomorian, says he's assembling his newly arrived Blackstone Fortress models. How you find them, mate? Quite nice, aren't they? We've got Chris in from Carson's Bazaar as well. Evening, Chris. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you for watching the stream yesterday and commenting on that during the stream was on. And Fomorian says it fits quite well into the content of this stream tonight. So for those that don't know, the purpose or what's the word I'm looking for? The topic for tonight's live stream is the cult of the new. And there's two sides to that. And I'll come on to it in more detail. But the two sides of it are, one is, why do we feel the need to kind of buy all the latest things, all this limited edition stuff, whatever's coming out new. You know, you get caught up in the hype. Why do we get dragged into that? And the other side of it as well is, why do we feel the need to buy the latest stuff when there are some amazing games out there that have maybe been out for a little while and maybe just don't get the love anymore? And there's a couple of reasons why that side of it kind of rang true. One is, and I've mentioned this before, every time I play The Walking Dead, I think, I love this game. Why don't I play it more often? So when I played it last Monday with Jason, really enjoyed that game. And kind of left wanting to play again. Couldn't wait to go to the tournament yesterday. And then when I played at the tournament yesterday, for all it was quite a kind of tiring day, me and Jason chatted all the way back in the car about, could have done this, could have done that. These combos were pretty good. It kind of just hyped me up to play more of it. The other thing as well is I also picked up a copy of Dungeon Saga yesterday from one of our subscribers, Rob McFerrin, who was at the tournament yesterday as well. I think he played the second game or the third game. Second game, I think it was, on the second, third game on the live stream, I think it was, and he won his game as well. We'd been chatting previously before about Dungeon Saga, and he said he had 2 copies of it. One because he picked it up, and then 2 because somebody was selling a Kickstarter version with all the bits and extras for a really good price. So he bought the Kickstarter version. So he ended up with 2 copies of Dungeon Saga, and he very kindly sold one to me for a good price. So again, it's about, just because you want to buy something doesn't mean you need to buy the latest stuff. There's some fantastic stuff out there that not only kind of is forgotten about sometimes, but you can also get some great deals on it. So I've got a light on my camera, and when I look into the lens to talk to you folks, the light blinds me, so when I look back at my screen, it's kind of blurry for a second. Where are we? Shaggy's in as well. Good evening, Jack. He says, I see you've been allowed back inside the house. Yeah, she's not here. Shh, don't tell her. That's why I'm back inside tonight, mate. If you missed the start, I've got the little one asleep upstairs. I didn't want to go across into the studio, mate, into the garage, and leave him alone on his own up there. So, so I'm in the house today. Matt says he's painting a Joker henchman for Batman. I need to see them, mate. I remember seeing your Joker model. It was fantastic. Robert Marshall says, you are the last model you painted. What are you? That's a great question, Robert. It depends, because I did some base coating this morning before work. So I'm assuming you mean the last model I completed. So that would make me Rick from The Walking Dead in prison armor. There you go. What about you folks? What about you, Robert? What would you be? Michael said it was great fun but exhausting. My knees were shot by the end of the day, mate. The tables at Element are a bit of a funny height, so when you sit down, the tables feel quite kind of high. So I felt I couldn't sit and play, so I stood up most of the day, and my knees were aching by the end of the day, I'll be honest. We've got Mike Nicholson in, says good evening from Colorado. Oh, sorry, good afternoon from Colorado. Good afternoon, Mike. Can't remember if we've chatted before here, but if not, welcome. If you have been before and I've just forgotten, welcome back. We've got Green Tree in, says evening everyone. Dustin saying that's right, working hard. Thought it's about time to be morning. Oh, sorry. Though it's about to be morning tea, so I might have to take a moment and be back. Fair enough, buddy. Fair enough. We've got Tim in as well. Says hey Andy and all. Hope you're all good. Really good, Tim. Thanks very much, mate. Hope you're well too. Did I see you've just had a nice little sort of surprise trip away as well? Did you have a good time? Robert Marshall says, I'm still loving Kill Team, to be fair. I think everyone's still quite enjoying Kill Team who got into it. We've got Redwell, says hello all. Good evening, Redwell, sorry. We've got Jason in as well, says evening mate, hope you recovered after the weekend. Tree looks good. Yeah, that's all the wife's hard work, that mate. It's not me. Skullmunch says, I would be an abyssal imp. I think you're normally an imp, to be fair, Skullmunch. You're always there giving me a bit of grief. Phil says, whoop whoop. Mark will be a Dungeon Saga zombie. Michael says, glad it's not just me. My knees were wrecked. Yeah, it's. I think it's all of us, mate. None of us are 16 anymore, that's for sure. Stuart says, Robert Marshall, I'd be Walking Dead scenery barrier. Does that make you a bit of a plank, Stuart? Is that? We've got Andy from Peninsula Painting Project says, hello all. Good evening, Andy. Dustin saying, it makes me bathophobia from Deep Madness. I need to find out what that is, buddy. We've got Tony in. Evening, Tony. I hope you're well, mate. Hope the family's okay as well. Tim says, I'd be Conflict 47 Heavy Russian Trooper. Could we just call you 47 for short? That's quite a mouthful, buddy. And Chris is saying, last minute I finished painting, I'd be a Plague Mutant from Death Zone Warpath. And he says he's currently undercoating some Martians, though. I assume they're the ones from Mars Attacks, buddy, are they? So we've got a nice little crowd in as well. Phil says he's got beers and tuck biscuits. I'm not a big fan of cheesy biscuits, mate, I'll be honest. But that's fair enough, because now I'm not eating them, am I? So we've got a few more chat there as well. Famorian says, I've quitted Kill Team because I couldn't keep up with all the releases, which refers to the stream topic again. To be fair, buddy, I've not bought anything since the core set. I've got my Death Guard I'm painting. I've got my Ultramarines that I finished. I've got I've got an Orc Kill Team I'm kind of sort of dripping in and out of. I didn't buy Rogue Trader and I didn't buy the Commanders expansion. Just kind of decided to stick with what it was. This is the first time really I decided not to kind of chase the latest thing. So I guess we'll come on to that as well too. Sean says, yeah, that's right. I'm very impressed with that, Joe. Thanks, buddy. Right, I'm going to nick a biscuit as well while we're sitting chatting. I've actually got some snacks tonight. I took some biscuits to the tournament yesterday and I got some left over. So, a couple of things to talk about before we get on with the topic. One is, if you haven't already seen it, Tabletop Legacy Weekender. So, March 22nd to 24th at Element Games in Manchester. Myself and Jay and Steve from Top Table Gaming are running a bit of a weekend event. I wouldn't say a tournament because it's not meant to be that serious. It's more fun, relaxed, casual gaming. We're going to be having some Kill Team stuff. There's some Hobbit stuff there. There is Walking Dead. I'm stretching my mind now trying to think. We've got the guys from the Drowned Earth are coming to do some demo stuff for us as well. We've got another company coming as well, I think, but I'm not sure we can announce that one yet, but there's definitely another one that's confirmed with us, but I'm not sure we can announce it. And they did say they've got something quite exciting as well when they come. We've got the goodie bags as well. If you come in, the value in the goodie bags will more than pay for the price of your ticket. And on this, talking about that, tickets are £25 and they can get you entry from Friday lunchtime right the way through until it closes on the Sunday tea time. It also gets you entry into any of the events you want to play as well. So head across to Tabletop Weekender on Facebook. That will explain exactly how you can buy a ticket. I'll be there. You'll be able to kind of play some games with me as well over the 3 days, and there'll be little bits of prizes as well, spot prizes for sort of for beating me or beating Jay and Steve as well. So head over there, check it out. Drop me a message on Facebook if you want more sort of direct details or anything like that. I know there's a few of you folks that already got tickets. Tickets are selling pretty good. I think there's also, I can't remember the date, but if you check out the Tabletop Weekend Facebook page, if you buy your ticket before a certain date, and I can't remember what the date is, you go in a draw to win a copy of Blackstone Fortress. So head over and check that out. The other one as well is we had the Winter's End tournament yesterday. Had a really good day. We've just been chatting about it there. Paul did an absolutely fantastic job of organising it. Him and Dan Meadows did a fantastic job with the scenarios. Michael's scenery as well that he painted to help out Paul was absolutely beautiful as well. The whole event was just ran really well from start to finish. Everybody I played against, it was a pleasure to play against them. I had the joy of playing against Michael, Jason, who's in tonight as well. I then played against, forget what the gentleman's name was now, but the guy that won the tournament as well. And another guy called Dan as well was the last game. 4 fantastic games, 4 really, really good competitors, and we kind of played just with fun as the intention. So if anybody's ever kind of been worried about going to a tournament, never let that kind of thing put you off. Everybody's going for the same reason. Right, where are we now? Oh, that light's getting on my nerves now. So Kumelkian is saying, bought into Kill Team, Necromunda, Blackstone Fortress, GW sucked me in. I feel like I need an intervention. You're in the right place, buddy. I still haven't eaten a biscuit yet. I've just noticed Skull Munch's biscuit stream. I haven't even started yet. Still rubbing away. Chris is saying some of the Science Division mutants from Mars attacks extermination. I don't think I've seen the expansion one, mate. Ian's saying, last model I painted would make me the captured princess object for Vanguard. I quite see you with a dress on, Ian, tied to a stake. That wasn't some kind of weird dream, I'll be honest. Dustin is saying, put a picture of... You've put one on Facebook. I'm just on my laptop tonight, so I haven't got the beauty of multiple screens tonight. So I'll have to check it out afterwards, but thanks for that. Sean saying, what's everyone's favourite biscuit? Mine's probably a good old-fashioned malted milk. These are the kind of, the Danish biscuits you get with Christmas with bits of sugar and stuff on. However, I think custard creams are massively underrated. There you go, just throwing that one out there. Neil says, the plastic crap will never end. Good evening, Neil. You're right, buddy, it won't. I've just saw something you've been painting banners. I've just seen them on Instagram. They look really nice, mate. Robert says, I would love to go to that, but I'm deployed away next year. That's a shame, Robert. Hopefully, if the ticket sales go well and the event is supported in March, we'll be looking to make it like an annual thing, and we'll obviously try and get more people involved as well as the future goes on. We have capped the number to make sure that, so if anybody that's been to Element Games, they know exactly the size of the place. I think it holds about 120 people. We've capped the ticket sales at 90 to make sure that there's plenty of space to set up demo tables. There's plenty of space for people to get around the tables and not be getting in each other's way. So there is only 90 tickets available if you are thinking of coming, folks. Tony is saying, no pressure on you and Jay to play Weldon. To be honest, I got a bit of a nosebleed yesterday. I played my first game and won that game against Michael. So thank you, Michael, for being a very good competitor there as well. It was a tough game. To be honest, the score didn't really reflect how close the game was. I kind of played for the scenario, which I think really helped me with points. But Michael was absolutely sort of knocking my models out for fun. I then played, that put me in 4th place, I think it was, after the first game. Because I actually had no kill points, but I did get really good scenario points. Then I played Jason in the second game, and we got a draw out of that game. Jason was in 3rd place at that time. So out of that draw, that left us in 3rd and 4th place. So after 2 games, I was sitting 4th. Jason was sitting 3rd. It's getting a bit of a nosebleed at that point. And then I went on to play the guy that won the event, and he absolutely handed my backside to me. So I dropped down a bit then to something like 5th or 6th, 7th it might have been. And then I lost my last game as well. I think by then my head was puddled, and I finished 9th in the event. But yeah, I was I put up a bit of a fight in the first couple of games, to be fair. Let's have a look. Michael's seen his bought his ticket this morning. Whoop whoop, nice one, Michael. Look forward to getting some more games in then as well, mate. Chris is saying that's an amazing draw. That £95 value for buying a ticket to an event you're going to enjoy anyway. Yeah. Even if we sold out before the date, you've still got a 1 in 90 chance of winning it. And at the minute, we haven't sold it out. So however many people have bought tickets up to that point, off the top of my head, I think there's about 40 gone, something like that. So you've still got a pretty good chance. If you pick up a ticket, you've got a pretty good chance of walking away with that prize. Chris says, was it Rob who won? It was Rob. I thought it was Rob, but then I thought I didn't want to say his name in case it was wrong. It was Rob who won it, mate. Really nice guy he was too. And Tony's saying there, I know, right. What was that after? Oh yeah, no pressure to play, yeah. We've got Flying Mammal in. It says, should be birthday cake, but I didn't have one. Should be birthday cake. Is it your birthday, Flying Mammal? Have you not told me and it's your birthday, or are you talking about my old birthday? I'm saying my old birthday. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? So it feels like forever ago. Tony is saying, quite partial with chunky Scottish shortbread. Yeah, I don't mind a bit of shortbread as well. Excuse me. Andy's saying he did an intervention on himself last January. Pretty much stuck to it. He bought... never eat on stream. This is the first time I've ever had food. I didn't realize it'd be a nightmare. Excuse me. Right. He says he bought Tooth and Claw, Space Wolves Codex, and he's been buying the Conquest stuff. It's good you've stuck to it, mate. but I know for a fact your eyes are wandering now, aren't you? You're looking a little bit of Vanguard, you're looking at a bit of bolt action. You're already starting to wonder. And we all do it. It's no matter how regimented we stay to kind of like, I'm only going to paint what I've got and before I buy anything else. You're always looking, and it's an effort to stop yourself sometimes from buying more stuff. Chris is saying, Co-op, doing amazing milk chocolate malted biscuit. Very Moorish. Must try those, mate. And he says, watching and listening, almost done hanging Christmas lights. At least you're still in one. At least you're still in one piece of it. You've not fallen off the roof doing that. Have you just come in, Robert? Did I miss you earlier on or not? Good evening, Robert. I can't remember if I saw you in there, mate. Scumwood says it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Flying Mammal Air. Happy birthday, Ruth. You kept that very quiet. I'd have sent a card if I'd known. So happy birthday. Thank you for coming in on your birthday. I can think of better things to be doing on your birthday than sitting and watching me ramble away and eat biscuits. So thank you very much for coming in. And I hope Sean has got you a nice gift as well. Dustin is saying, squiggle tops are my biscuity weakness. That must be a New Zealander thing, mate. I have no idea what squiggle tops are. And Tony is saying, happy level up day to Ruth as well. Yeah, happy birthday from me, from myself, and I'm sure from everyone else too. Robertson, he's just come in. So, let's get on with the main chat then, eh? So, as I mentioned, there's a couple of sides to it. So one is, I think companies have got better at marketing. So if you go back maybe 10, 15 years ago, sort of wargaming companies weren't that big really. They didn't really spend a lot of money on marketing. They're not going to advertise on radio. They're not going to advertise on TV. They're not going to advertise in the local press. They rely upon word of mouth. Of kind of trying to get their games out there. They used to go around kind of like local clubs and demo the games. They'd go to events and demo the games. But with the internet and with YouTube channels, just like this one, and with social media, they're starting to they're changing their marketing strategies now. Games Workshop are on a different level now. They're obviously making more than enough money to have a really kind of good marketing team. Even companies like Mantic that have people like Martin employed now, people like Rob, people like Clive, who kind of go out and demo the games and speak to stores and speak to channels like mine and kind of get us involved in bits and pieces early as well and generate that hype. Those companies now are really starting to kind of get that hype train running. Think about what GW did for 8th edition. That was just on a different level to anything I'd seen before. If you think about how they dealt with Age of Sigmar prior to that, it almost kind of like, it almost backfired and could have almost wiped them out. In sort of the converse to that, or the inverse to that, I should say, is 8th edition was an unmitigated success. Kill Team absolutely blew out the water, did a fantastic job of it. Look what Mantic did with Vanguard, and look what they've done with kind of Here's Negan and Hellboy, versus what they may have done with things like Kings of War like many, many years ago. It's on a different level now. And all of those companies kind of hyping things up all start pulling on the purse strings and all start pulling on your heartstrings as well. So what about you folks? Do you ever feel like you get kind of pulled into games? Do you get caught up in the hype? Do you end up buying games that you probably regret the minute that you get them home? Do you have stuff that's on your shelf that you've never even opened, never played, but got caught up in the hype and got pulled in? I certainly have. I'm not immune to this. I got massively caught up in the 8th edition hype and bought all sorts of stuff. Still never played it. I got caught up in Necromunda. Still never really played it. But then I've also had some kind of surprise stuff as well, where I've bought into stuff and then really been impressed with it. So, what's happening in the chat? Mark's saying happy birthday. We've got Tabletop Painter. Good evening, Tabletop Painter. Says, if you stop buying models till there's others are done, you'll miss out on extra bits for the project you're working on. Yeah, if you're the kind of person that likes to do a bit of kit bashing, yep, you're definitely right on that one bit. And welcome to the chat too. Tim's saying happy birthday as well. Kieran's in as well, says, evening folks, I love me a toffee pop. Oh, Kieran, toffee pops. I'm a bit partial to a toffee pop, I'll be honest. Matt's saying, part of the problem as we are bombarded with new shiny stuff on social media, Yeah, I'm as guilty as anybody on that, to be fair. And email constantly on a daily basis makes it difficult not to stray. Do you feel like you're cheating on your miniatures, do you, mate? Excuse me. Jack says, happy birthday as well. Andy says, yeah, man, my eye's been wandering for a while. I'll be getting into other stuff in the new year. Tabletop Painters saying happy birthday to Ruth as well from the land of the Vikings. And Neil says, I regret buying Blackstone and Titanicus this year. That's interesting, Neil, because those were two games that I was absolutely I was determined not to get pulled into. It was the same with, what was it called again? Rogue Trader was another one that I knew if I bought it, I knew I wouldn't do anything with it. It would sit there unpainted, unplayed, as a pile of plastic. I was quite proud of myself not getting pulled into the hype on those ones, because the hype's strong, especially with Titanicus when it was that limited edition was it Warlord kit or kind of box or whatever it was. Tabletop Painter says, you just squeezed off the top of the screen there. Sorry about that, buddy. I'm trying to see what I've said. It says I'll be back with new videos shortly. Look forward to it, mate. Look forward to it. And Ruth is saying, thank you to all. Steve Bonner, that's who was in earlier on. I couldn't remember who it was. The name's come back now. Hi, evening, buddy. How are you doing? Thanks for popping in earlier on as well, 3 hours early. He says, GW had TV adverts in America, and you can find them on YouTube. I remember them having the ads for Hero Quest, which was kind of Milton Bradley and Games Workshop together. I remember them having those. And then I guess you can kind of also remember Dungeons and Dragons having the cartoon as well, which I guess was part of that era of almost toys being marketed by cartoons, things like Transformers and Thundercats and He-Man, that kind of stuff. Robert says Kickstarters are going off everywhere. Kickstarter is a big part of this as well. So as an example, I bought into the Batman Gotham City Chronicles. I'm a big Batman fan, but randomly never got into Night Models Batman. I was interested in buying the Batman board game, and then what sealed it for me was I actually thought it was a bit expensive, or I thought you got a lot of stuff that I'd probably never paint or never play. But what swung it for me was the fact that they said they would never go into retail with it. So I guess what I thought was, if I decide I'm never going to play it, I can always sell it and probably get my money back, maybe even make a little bit on it. But yeah, you get swept up in that Kickstarter stuff. Tim saying, Mantic sensible Bobby from the Black Friday video wanted to knock him out. yeah. I know what you mean. Tabletop Peter saying, no, never. Mark saying, totally have. Star Wars Destiny pulled in. Yo, you and me both, mate. I'd be embarrassed to admit probably how much I spent on that game before. It was my first ever trading card game or kind of collectible card game, and I just don't think I was prepared for the power creep and for the kind of the arms race of always chasing the latest stuff. I couldn't believe how expensive that is. I can only imagine what Magic's like and things like that, which is one of the reasons Keyforge has been a nice little side move in the card game. Tabletop Painter saying Betrayal at Calth, never played, have to finish the models, and he always kit bashes. Sean is saying, don't know what you're talking about, I've never done that before. Yeah, never. None of us have, mate, have we? We've never bought anything we've never played. Mark says he's getting pulled into the hype for Keyforge. Yeah, I think the benefit of that is you can buy one deck for about £8, $10, and give it a try. If you decide it's not for you, at least you haven't kind of invested too much, for the price of a few pints down the local kind of thing. You've given it a try, where with things like Destiny and Magic, you've got to buy a lot of cards before you find out what you sort of get those combos and stuff, really. Jack is saying, I think it's a lot easier to get the word out due to social media which companies have your email address, it makes it very easy to target at you. Yeah, you're not wrong, buddy. You're not wrong. And don't get me wrong, I kind of, for all it kind of, I suffer from it as well. I suppose I'm part of the problem. So coming to you with new games and showing you new stuff, I want to kind of talk about new stuff because it's interesting for me. It's the things I'm interested in. But then I'm kind of I'm just perpetuating the problem. I'm showing you more stuff as well. Skullmunch is saying, do it, Mark. Keyforge is amazing. Tim says, picked up a few Keyforge decks. Wow, where did the chat disappear there now? Wow, it's busy tonight. I wonder if I missed all of this stuff. So I picked up a few Keyforge decks mainly because of hype and curiosity. Unless I go to the store, I'll probably never play. Yeah, that's a sad thing. Luckily, I play with my two older lads. I tend to I'll take a deck with me when I go down to Manchester and maybe have a game with Jay as well. So I don't think I'll get heavily into it, but for the price, I don't mind. I will be doing. I got the starter box now as well. I've just taken it upstairs tonight. The starter box arrived last week, so I will be doing some stuff on the channel as well. So if you're still sitting on the fence and you want to kind of wait it, give it a week or so, and I'll have a video up on Keyforge. Chris is saying he's limited himself to Necromunda. Got stuck with Escher. Went all in for Mars attacks. Never finished the core game, although it did play attack from space. Phil's all about the jammy dodger. Chris is also saying now he's glad he did go all in. Robert says he's got a couple of things I never play. Force myself to wait most of the time until I can find out more about a game. I think for me, I'm a collector as well as much as anything. And some people might call it a hoarder. My wife always says, well, why don't you sell the stuff you don't play? But I quite like to collect them. It's like I do sometimes go back and play them, or I do sometimes go back and paint stuff I maybe haven't painted yet. But for me, the collection side is almost as enjoyable, really, as kind of the other side. So, whilst it's not ideal, there's also almost a reason behind it. Tabletop Painter saying, if you add the old elements of Epic to the Titanicus game, you're going to get a good game. I've never played either, to be honest, mate. Ruth is saying, I regret missing out on a couple of games because I was put off by the hype. Now, that's interesting. I'll open that one kind of the question up to everybody as well. Have you ever been put off a game by the hype? Is it something you've been interested in and then decided not to because of the hype? If you don't mind me asking, Ruth, what were the games that you were put off from? Jack says, look at the playthrough videos now. One great video was the intro vid for Reichbusters. Also, they have YouTubers and bloggers who can help spread the word. The game has changed in terms of marketing. Without a doubt, that Reichbusters video... who am I thinking of? Probably Simon Games have been doing some pretty good kind of Kickstarter videos for a while now around games like Hate, games like the Zombicide games. They've turned up a notch, but yeah, that Reichbusters one was on a different level. However, you do have to say that some of that Kickstarter money was going towards paying that back. Sean is saying, anybody that has a Keyforge deck, bring it to a Tabletop Legacy event. I'll be playing. Yeah, definitely bring them down. We're thinking about doing a Keyforge event actually as well. So it might be that we just we might do like a blind where you just nip into Element Games, buy a deck, and everybody's on a level playing field then. So it doesn't matter whether you've played before or not. Like you kind of start. You will probably. Am I allowed to announce this? You'll probably get an Element Games voucher in your goodie bag as well. So it might even offset some of the cost of it as well. So yeah, we'll even if we just get some games in, Sean, I'll definitely have a few games with you, mate. But yeah, I'm thinking about trying to put a small event on for it as well. Tim is saying, love to see Epic or Space Marine. Matt saying, when he worked for GW, new releases were monthly and it was around 8 to 10 new items. Now it's weekly and every month has big box releases. It saturates the market, then other companies try to keep up. It fascinates me, Matt, because I've kind of in my day life, my day job, if you like, I work in new product development, and we develop products that go on sale in supermarkets. And fighting for shelf space in a supermarket is a bit of a battleground in itself as well. So if you want to launch a new product, you either need to take one of your existing products off the shelf to make space for it, or you need to try and convince the retailer to take somebody else's product off the shelf to make space for yours. gaming stores will be exactly the same. Like, space is limited. Gaming stores will sell Games Workshop stuff. And the fact that they are absolutely swamping these stores with new product just means there's less space for everybody else to compete in. And that's huge. I love the kind of the science and the psychology of all that stuff. It really kind of intrigues me, and the background of the industry really intrigues me as well. So yeah, but they've definitely upped their output. They've definitely upped how often things are coming out. They've upped like the speed of releases of expansions for things. They really are it's almost like they know they're in this kind of golden age, and they're going to milk it for everything it's worth before the bubble bursts. Well, I just saw. Sorry about this, folks. The chat is going very, very, very fast tonight, which is good. I like that. It's good, but it just means it's hard to keep up. It says, "May I ask what Warhammer model you're working on at the minute?" Sorry, my little boy there. I think he's okay. He must have just coughed. The latest Games Workshop miniature I'm painting is definitely Death Guard. I've got some Death Guard Death Guard Marines that I am painting up for Kill Team at the moment. And I am going to do a video on how I paint them up quick as well. I know I've mentioned this before, but I will be. Steve says, "I'm good, mate." sorry, I'm getting back round to you now, mate. He says, "Glad to check your first Monday live chat. I've seen far too many unused systems, but can demo almost any of them. Still need a second force painter to do it right." Yeah, that's it. That's it. You have to. One's not enough if you like. Jackson, if you look at some companies, they use influencers to help target audiences they may not currently have a chance to target in the past as well. Yeah, Mandic did a good job of that with their Terrain Crate stuff, kind of tapping into that sort of RPG crowd. Terrain Crate sells massively well now, and getting into that RPG crowd was a real kind of eye-opener for them. Hence why I'm not surprised that they're going to be looking at a Kings of War RPG game now. Skullmunch saying nothing to pay into a Keyforge either. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like it. It means I can just play without worrying about the kind of miniatures and stuff. Phil saying happy birthday to Ruth. Robert says, "Have I been living under a rock? What's Keyforge? It used to be a big standard Magic player until I realised how much money I spent on paper." So, Robert, and anybody else who doesn't know what Keyforge is, it's the latest game designed by Richard Garfield, who also created Magic. However, the biggest difference with this is there is no deck building at all. You buy a pre-constructed, unique deck, and there is no other deck like that in the world. You can't switch the cards out. What you get in that deck is what you have to play, and if you don't like the deck, you just have to buy a new one. There's no kind of mixing them around. However, they're designed to be relatively balanced, and there are some mechanics in the game as well. Like if you're playing sort of tournaments, if one deck is doing particularly well, there's almost like handicaps to it called chains, which kind of slow the deck down a little bit and try and help balance it out. It's a really clever, unique game, I would say. And the fact that it's pre-constructed decks, you don't do any deck building, means that you could buy 500 decks, and you'd still have to try and find all of the tricks in that to find which one was good. Or you can just buy one deck, just play for fun. There's no need to buy like 20, 30 decks to try and get the best cards out of them to try and build something that's sort of a coherent deck. So yeah, it's really interesting. Let's have a look. Right, I'm going to skip ahead a bit here because I'll be here all night otherwise. So I apologise if I've missed your comment and it was directly to me. Just tag us and I'll read it again a second time. Tabletop Painter saying, "Got any Instagram?" I am on Instagram. It's BlackJack Legacy. Please feel free to follow me on there. If you follow me and just leave me a little note so I know who you are, I'll happily come and follow your stuff as well. I tend to just paint odd bits of sort of work in progress type stuff, bits of painting I'm doing. I tend to put that on Instagram, or any games I've bought or anything like that, or any games I've been sent. And he's saying it's illegal to sell your old stuff to buy more. Certainly is, mate. Neil saying, "Yeah, it's your fault I bought Legion and Walking Dead plus Zombicide because of you." You can't blame me for Zombicide, mate. I've never played Zombicide. Walking Dead and Star Wars Legion, I will take. However, I still stand by Walking Dead is a fantastic game. That's where I've been this weekend playing a tournament. And Legion, actually, I still like. I only ever bought the core set and I painted it all up. And I've had a few games with it and I quite enjoy it. Jason's still in the chat. He's just picked it up and he wants to kind of sit and paint it with his son. So I'm sure we'll get some more games of Legion in. I didn't feel the need to kind of buy lots of expansions until there was more out that I got a more balanced choice, I think. So, yeah, sorry, Neil. Stephen saying, that's me up to 1,845 painted Lord of the Rings minis. Tell me about your collecting. I bow down to your superior painting, mate. Yes, Skullmunch is saying get some Keyforge in. Sounds great. Phil's saying he was planning to get 2 Gargant Iron Skulls, start collecting each, and Stormcast, plus the Imperial Fist Battle Fox and a couple of paints. I need help. You need a bloody loan, son, by the sound of that. Chris is saying, yeah, shelf space, everything needs to pull its weight. It has to. You can't afford to have stuff on your shelf that doesn't sell. No matter what you're selling, whether it's miniatures or whether it's second-hand cars, you know what I mean? Everything is taking up space and losing value the longer it's there as well. Tim saying to Neil, with you on Hellboy, really can't wait for it. I must have missed. Oh, that was it. I just seen he's stepping back from. Oh, it's because it's jumped on again. Says, like, Element. Sounds like this Element Games a great event will be great. Now, how much is a plane ticket? I'm sure we can get you on a boat somewhere and get you shipped over, buddy. Neil says, stepping back from Kickstarter's Hellboy again was your fault. Yeah, I backed Hellboy as well. I'm really looking forward to it, though. So I'm waiting for 3 Kickstarters at the moment. I'm waiting for Resident Evil, which should come before the end of the year, although I'm not that hopeful now as we're getting on. Hellboy and the Batman game as well. But I've kind of stepped back from Kickstarters as well because I've got money invested in 3 and I haven't seen them yet. I almost wanted to kind of get something for my money before I start investing more. So there's a few I've kind of passed on now because of that. I did dive into Solomon Kane and I ended up backing out of it because I just thought it's another game I'm probably not going to play very often with everything else that's going on. So I backed out of that one. I kind of looked at Horizon Zero Dawn, but again I just thought it's a game that's not going to see any table time, I don't think. And I also, Right Busters was another one that looked fantastic, but I've got too much invested in Kickstarters I haven't received yet. Andy says, don't forget, people, we don't have to buy new stuff. Yeah, it's you don't have to buy new stuff. It's right. And like I said as well at the start, if you do want a new game, you can get some fantastic deals of buying stuff that maybe isn't kind of in the limelight anymore. It doesn't make them bad games. If you've got a gaming buddy who's happy to play, going halves on an old version of Dungeon Saga is a great example, I suppose. It's not exact. Everyone who plays it tells me how good it is, but it's not necessarily kind of at the top of everyone's list. So I'm looking forward to getting some games of that. It's very reminiscent of Hero Quest with that kind of, the dungeon crawl type thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some games of it in. He says with Hero Quest sitting on the shelf gathering dust, not getting any play time. Phil says he'll save for tickets. Nice one, Phil. I did say I'll keep you a couple back as well, so let me know, mate, if you still want them. Tony's saying he's picking up Keyforge at the weekend. Love the idea of deck not building game. That was what sold it for me, mate, as well. Matt is saying you find companies like FFG who make and sell in waves also encourages panic buying, especially when they're in short supply as well. You don't want to be that person who doesn't have that one card that everyone else wants. Yeah, tell us about it, mate. Mark's waiting on Crypt, Batman, Hellboy and Zombicide. Yeah, I remember you went into a few as well, mate. Jack said he's looking forward to getting Enter the Dark Castle Kickstarter soon. That's the one that was on Beasts of War the other day, wasn't it? I saw the interview with the guy, one of the designers. Looked pretty cool. He said he also did back Right Busters, just got to wait a year. Yeah, it's that weird, isn't it? It feels like forever ago since I backed stuff and I'm still waiting for it now. I have got no idea when Batman's coming. And I'm not that sure when Hellboy's coming, if I'm honest. I think it's March time, but I'm still not 100% certain. Where are we going? Neil saying GW can't even have all games displayed out of sight, out of mind. Interest disappears. Yeah, even in their own stores, they don't have space for everything that they sell. Certainly don't have space for all of the new stuff. I mean, they've just pulled things like Silver Tower from the shelves and stuff not that long ago. With Blackstone Fortress coming out, they don't really stock the Shadespire stuff. They don't really stock the Necromunda stuff. So it's amazing just how much they do. Where were we doing there? Tim was saying he's waiting on Batman, Hellboy, Zombicide, and Vader. That's a couple of years worth of mini painting for me. It's about 10 years worth for me, buddy, the speed I paint. Matt says, seeing that I bought Holiday Hellboy tonight just because it comes up on Facebook and it's pretty. I must say, I was really tempted as well. The only thing that's putting me off is it's not shipping until February, which I was a little bit disappointed about. My love for Christmas will be kind of dwindled by February, I think. That's the only thing that's kind of putting me off. Stephen saying buying second-hand discount starter sets where the contents are cheaper than buying the items separately is a solid option without a doubt. Ruth saying Hero Quest, how can I be gathering dust? It just stands there on the shelf with everything else. I'll tell you what I'll do, Ruth. I think you and Sean are going to the tabletop weekender. I'll bring Hero Quest and we'll have a game of Hero Quest over that weekend. Robert's saying he's waiting on a couple of pre-orders. Tony's saying, I feel the same. Kind of want to see a few more Kickstarters turn up before I go big on anything else. Specifically, Joan of Arc, Batman, and Claustrophobia. Is Joan of Arc not shipped yet, mate? I had in my head Joan of Arc had already shipped, but maybe it hasn't. Mark's saying he's learned the lesson to wait, pick up the Adventures Companion for Dungeon Saga on the open day, full price, then 2 weeks later, on Black Friday for $9.99. Yeah, to be honest, I'd quite like the Adventurous Companion now. Now I've bought... I like the Adventurous Companion so I can play the solo version. I didn't realise that at the time. And now I've kind of missed the boat as well. And now I'm reluctant to buy it at full price because I know it was cheap not long ago. Tony says he's backed Right Busters for $1 as I was weak. And I see you getting ready for for when the pledge manager goes out and just to see how you're feeling. Robert says he got Bolt Action last Christmas as a total surprise. Very nice. You've been looked after there, Robert. Hal says, so here's my problem with the cult of the new. I'm having my best mate makes crazy loads of money from his job. He buys everything from Kickstarter. I get things like Shadespire. It's really tough, Hal, isn't it? I mean, you could look at it like he's buying all the stuff. You just go and enjoy and play it and let him buy it. But it's really... I mean, I've been part of gaming groups, and I'm probably guilty of it myself as well, where people see the latest shiny thing and they're off kind of doing a different game, even though you've just bought in, you just started painting, you haven't even used them yet, and the group's off down a different road and doing something else. That can be quite demoralising, and it does kind of it kind of hurts a bit, to be fair, when you've spent like your hard-earned money, you've put time into your army before you even get it on the table. The gaming group's kind of gone off down a different route. So sometimes it helps just to have that kind of one gaming buddy. But if he's spending the money, buddy, I mean, if he's making the money and he can afford to spend it, I guess just you can always ride the coattails and enjoy playing the games with him, can't you? Dustin is saying Dungeon Saga is great. Really need to play more, but Dungeons and Dragons has dominated my gaming time with 3-hour sessions a week and a couple of hours of homework for the session IDM. I remember seeing the effort you put into it, mate. It was phenomenal, and I'm sure the folks you play with really appreciate it. I'm kind of really impressed you're managing to get that much game time in. But if you love something, don't worry about what you're not playing. Enjoy what you're playing. If you're getting like 9 or 10 hours a week of gaming stuff in, that's amazing. Don't worry about what you're not playing, man. Hal says recently Vanguard, we get 1 or 2 games in, and he wants to move on. Sadly, sorry. Yeah, that's just what I was kind of saying, really. Matt says it won't get painted till Christmas 2020 anyway. Have you seen my cupboard? Anybody that hasn't seen Matt's cupboard, to be honest, it's kind of similar to mine, but mine's spread all over the place at the minute. But yeah, it's quite impressive. Head across to the Facebook group, check out Matt's cupboard of shame. Where Dustin is saying, did get some Zombicide and All Out Warring lately though. Are you still using your board that you were doing, Dustin? Didn't you get the Was it Terrainscapes tiles? I remember you painting those up. They looked amazing. Are you still playing on there? Chris is saying broadsword. Tim's saying about Dustin about D&D. What basics do I need to get my group going? A DM in a player's book? That's a question there he's asking. We've got Art Wilson in. Good evening, Art. Hope you're well, buddy. He says, I've got all the games rule sets I need, really. I've got all the ones I need. I've got more than I need. I just keep buying more. It says, just collect lots of different miniatures to play them with. I even play GW games with non-GW minis. Just don't tell the Inquisition. The heresy of it. We've got Tony is saying, Joan of Arc is being sent in waves now, and wave 1 probably going to be about February. With all the stuff in there, I expected it, to be honest. I had a feeling that I saw it when I was at UK Games Expo. Sorry for talking with my mouth full. And I thought it was ready to ship, I'll be honest. And we're going back to June there. Dustin saying to Tim about the Player's Handbook and the Monster Manual at bare minimum. The Dungeons Master's Guide is more a reference book for magical items and stuff. Get a DM screen reincarnated too. Andy is saying, never try and compete with other hobbyists. Fantastic piece of advice. Doesn't matter whether it's what they buy, how much they buy, what their painting's like, how fast they paint, how many they paint. You hobby at your pace and you spend what you're comfortable with. Never run up credit cards buying the latest stuff. Never get into debt just because your mates are all buying the latest stuff. Hobby at your pace. And Tim there is saying, haven't played since the 80s, early 90s. I guess I would say it's not changed much, Dungeons and Dragons, but I guess are they on what's it? Is it 5th edition that's out now? Kind of lost track of it now. So yeah, I think I've caught up with the chat for a change. I think you all got sick of waiting for me and just and stopped there. So how are we doing? Is everything? Is our stream all still working okay? Are we? Looks like everything's working. I'm using the laptop that I used yesterday for the live streaming for the Winter's End event. And as I was setting it all up yesterday, I got the blue screen with the sad face on it, and it was kind of rebooting itself. And I was thinking, oh no, it's not going to work. But it worked fine for the stream yesterday, and it seems, touch wood, it seems you're working fine for the stream today as well. Tony is saying, with my board games, I've started to expand stuff I have rather than just grab all the shinies. That's quite a sound way to do it as well. I tend to get sucked into buying all the expansions for games that I've not played enough to even worry about the expansion. And to be honest, Kill Team is the first time that I've really kind of just went, right, I'm buying Kill Team, I'll play Kill Team. I'm not buying Rogue Trader, I'm not buying the Commanders expansion. Like, I like what I've got. If you like I enjoy the game as it is. If I want to start playing competitively, I might have to rethink it, but I'm kind of enjoying it as it is. I've also held off X-Wing as well, and I was really interested to get into X-Wing at the 2nd edition, and I've kind of held off that as well. So I think one thing kind of I've got, I suppose, is now the channel's doing all right now. It's doing pretty well, I would say, and companies get in touch and send me stuff now as well, which I guess helps to not have to chase the latest stuff. And it gives me a kind of a chance to play it and review it. I did get myself into a bit of a kind of a routine, really, I think, when I got to about 1,000 subscribers, where I felt like I needed to keep buying stuff, and I was buying a lot of games just to have kind of new content, really, just to have stuff to talk about. So I would never recommend you do that. To be fair, channels grow faster if they kind of concentrate on one thing. So never feel like you need to chase stuff like that as well. Justin is saying, yeah, I use the Terrainscape boards for D&D. Most of the players are using models from Zombicide, Green Horde, and Monolith Conan. Dungeon Saga are the main source of monster models. Yeah, the Dungeon Saga ones are pretty cool, actually. I was just having a look over them this morning. Chris is saying it's 5th edition now. Thank you, mate. Steve is saying to Tim, just grab the D&D starter set to get going. It's great value. Sean says, how did people get on with the first month of the BlackJack Legacy Painting Challenge? Did we all have fun? Thanks for bringing that up, Sean. It almost skipped my mind. With me being busy over the weekend at the tournament, I've not had a chance to kind of collate all the stuff yet, but I will do that this week. And as I promised, I'll get those pictures up into a video at some point as well. But yeah, December's challenge is up. So anybody that hasn't seen it, because I need to go back and put a nice fancy picture and stuff on it. But December's challenge is paint a unit as it was again in November. That one's going to carry on through the entire challenges. But this time it's paint a mini with a red theme. Now that might just mean a red spot colour. You might want to do the entire model red, like a Santa Claus type thing or something. Or I think somebody's doing an abyssal, like an abyssal unit or something like that. So it's going to be red. But yeah, so this month's theme is red. Or this month's challenge is red, I should say. Where are we at? Mark is saying he's got on order 3DS Dungeon, like 3DS there. Dungeon Saga expansions, but will be playing them. You play a lot of it, Mark, to be fair. It's really, to be honest, it's you playing it that's probably convinced me to pick it up. I know how much you play it, mate. Andy's saying, I overindulge in the hobby. My best mate, unfortunately, can't afford to spend a lot. So what we do is every time we play, we just increase the points by 250. That's the way to do it, to be fair. Otherwise, you're constantly just changing and chopping and changing armies because you never get finished. So you do something different. Tony's saying, thanks for the streams from Winter's End. I was following along whenever I could. Looked brilliant fun. You're welcome, Tony. It was, once I got it all set up first thing in the morning, it was pretty easy to manage from that point in time. Everything seemed quite stable and it seemed to keep running. I really enjoyed my first game on the stream against Michael. I kind of forgot it was on, to be honest, once I started playing, which is just how much I was enjoying the game. And then obviously other people were on the stream. If anybody didn't see it, the last video, which is the 4th round, was the top table. The winner of that went on to win the tournament. So it's it's worth watching. Jack saying, that's why I like Shadow War Armageddon. All I needed to do was to paint terrain and minis I already had, plug and play. It's kind of where I've been with Kill Team, to be fair. I already had some Space Marines that I've painted up as my Ultramarines. I had the Death Guard that I got in the Dark Imperium set, so I'm painting those up. I've had orcs kind of kicking around for years, that when the kids were little and they bought orcs to do bits and pieces with, so I've kind of kit bashed all those together to get a bit of an orc squad. I've not really spent any money. I did buy a few of the expansions and stuff with the terrain and things, but now I've got quite a bit of terrain. I've got a couple of boards. I'm happy with what I've got, to be honest. Excuse me. Dustin is saying to Tim and Steve, starter set is great, cheap win. I lent mine to a mate for him to try and his kids involved. Has anybody tried the My Little Pony RPG? It seems to be really popular, and it seems to be a really fun way for sort of families getting their younger kids involved in that kind of stuff as well. And a bit of I know you could scope D&D to be as friendly as you like, but I guess My Little Ponies are a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-violent, I think is the word. That's probably the word. Excuse me. We've got Buzzer in. Good evening, Buzzer. How are you doing, mate? Neil says, very few friends know about my plastic addiction, so I struggle for opponents. Me too, mate. Sort of none of my work colleagues or anybody they don't know about my hobby. They don't know about the YouTube channel. They might do, like, if they ever happen across it. The biggest sort of thing for me recently was when Jason got so Jason, I think I've mentioned before, is my brother-in-law. We kind of go for a beer quite often and stuff. So we're mates. We kind of hang out, but we were much more kind of console gamers or PC gamers. He tried Walking Dead, and now he's starting to get kind of into the hobby, painting and playing and stuff. We're going to give Kill Team a try as well. He's interested in giving Kill Team a try. That's been the biggest step for me, really, to have somebody who's both local, interested, and kind of my mate to play against. So I think that's really going to kind of, even for the channel as well. I know Jason said he's keen to come back on the channel as well. So hopefully we should get more games on the channel as well. Excuse me. Art saying I'd be interested in getting hold of some of those Jonah Arc minis as I'm getting a 15mm to cut costs and save storage space. Do you think 15mm miniatures really take up less space? And I don't mean that flippantly or as kind of obviously as it sounds. I just mean that my intention or my expectation is 15mm games have more miniatures to kind of simulate scale. So do they really take up less space? Neil said he bought in the X-Wing as well. Steve says, aced it and loved it. Looking forward to doing a battle company of the Space Marines this month. Yeah, you absolutely. I think, did you get involved on like the 29th of November and then smashed it out the park? Looking forward to seeing what you do, buddy, this month. Mark said he's just finished his Dungeon Saga Zombies as part of the December challenge. Pickies are up. Look forward to seeing them, buddy. Chris is saying that I'm painting a mutant ant. Looking forward to that. Mark is saying he's got red to come on others this month as well. Neil said the painting challenge was good, but I still keep skipping between projects. There's nothing wrong with that, mate, to be honest. And even if you only paint one model, get it in the challenge. It's just about trying to encourage people to paint. If you're skipping between projects, you're still painting. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. As long as you're enjoying it, and as long as you're happy with what you're doing, it's just a hobby. It shouldn't feel like a kind of a full-time job. Chris is saying I wrote a blog article recently about getting into Kill Team pretty cheap. I don't think you shared that in the group, buddy. Share it in the group so we can read it as well. Because I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the few kind of blog stuff I've read of yours. Justin saying I want to get My Little Pony Tales from Equestria so much. I have no brony shame. The new cartoons are funny. I think I've heard that there's quite a lot of kind of bronies, as they're called, who play it as well. Jackson, trying to get people to play it is tricky. Yeah, sadly that it is. But do you think that doesn't explain why we buy more stuff, does it? Because I suffer from that as well. I don't have a lot of opponents to play against. So I almost kind of make up for my lack of playing by buying more stuff, if you like. If that's probably right. Buzzer saying his daughter is getting into the hobby. She's always looking at what I do. Told her, pick an army you like the look of. She's chosen Dark Angels. I'm sure it's because she's becoming a teenager. Sounds about right, mate. And Buzzer said, I think it's the videos she's going to enjoy more. Yeah, I've seen her on a few of your videos, mate. She seems quite comfortable on camera. She doesn't seem too shy anyway. Robert saying Warlord Games had a fantasy game coming out. Don't know too much about it, but sticking with Vanguard. Yeah, from what I understand, mate, I think it's pretty much like bold action rules fantasy. So a little bit like Gates Antari's fantasy side. Sounds interesting though. Sounds interesting. I don't know whether it's going to be kind of skirmish or if it's a little bit bigger than that. Steve says 15 Thorin's company in 3 hours. I need to sit with you, mate, and see how you paint. I can't get through that kind of level of stuff. Do you just use big brushes? I don't know how you manage it, mate. Because it's not like your paint's just like thrown on there. They look good. It's not like it's kind of like speed at the expense of quality or anything like that. Matt says I have at least 6 projects on the go at once. I tend to have multiple projects on the go as well, but the biggest thing I've learned is to clear my painting table. So don't have like 5 or 6 projects on my painting table at the same time. So whatever I'm working on, I'll have that on my table. And then if I want to switch to a different project for a bit of a change of pace, I'll put that away kind of out of line of sight. Because I find that when I can see them, it makes me switch around. It makes me kind of drag around. And Skullmunch says, for December, I'm going to paint up some Walking Dead, I think. Want to play it again. Well, we're going to have a Walking Dead event as well at the Weekender. So you can always dip into that as well. You don't really have to have played much. When I hadn't actually played that much when I went to this event. Jason, who came with me, probably played 3 or 4 games. Jay Finnegan dropped in at the last minute. He'd not played much as well. It's just a bit of fun. So yeah, do that, mate. Dustin saying, part of finding people to play a thing and why I buy so much was so I could set up a table and put an army on each side. All I needed was someone willing to play. No cash investment. That's a really good point, actually. Scoreman says, I have 1,000 projects I'm working on. Yeah, I ain't got a table big enough for that either. It says, finishing them, that's a hard thing. Yeah, I must admit, when I kind of finish something, and I know we've talked about this before, but having that deadline. So, for example, when I've just painted up some Walking Dead stuff, and I know it's not a lot of models, but I still had to paint them. It was a deadline. I had to have them painted in time for the event. When I was doing the Vanguard stuff, so Mantic sent me out a couple of armies to make some content on. But I had a deadline when I had to make the videos to try and coincide with their marketing team as well. So because I had a deadline to paint them up by and release my videos, it motivated me to get them done. When I painted up my 2 Star Wars Legion, like from the starter set, I didn't have a deadline to do it, but it was just, it was such a good feeling to have it done. And I need to complete stuff more often. I definitely do. Robert says, for December, I'm going to paint the Vanguard Giant. Going to try anyway. Looking forward to seeing that, Robert. Hal Martin said he's king of the half-painted figs. I think that makes 2 of us, mate, actually, to be fair. Steve says, I need to get you better pics as my standard is 3 colours, washed and based. That's my standard as well, but you still get past that. Says, Lord of the Rings minis are great to paint with their smaller size, simple colour schemes, and Mast makes them look good. That's the other side as well. You can certainly get sidetracked when you look at one model in isolation. You get it in with a group, like how it's going to be on the table, if you like, and they instantly kind of look 10 times better. Buzz is saying that's why I like doing huge commissions, never get bored, and can switch between them and my own stuff. I've considered a few times about sending some of my stuff out like for commission painting, like getting somebody else to paint them up for me so I can kind of concentrate on making videos and playing the games rather than painting stuff. But I really enjoy the painting. I find it really relaxing. And I think I'd miss it if I just kind of farmed it out, if I'm honest. It doesn't do me any favours, and maybe if the channel ever got bigger, maybe I'd have to kind of consider it again. But at the minute, I'm kind of... It does slow me down. I can't make as many videos because I don't have as much stuff painted. But I'm kind of making my content around it, if you like. So, Phil says, nothing needs red, might get some corn. You can always put a bit of blood on it, mate. Put a bit of blood on the base or something like that. Or put a bit of blood on the weapon. That'll be red. Well, I'm assuming it's red, unless it's like a Tyrion blood or something. Buzz is saying, I'm your... Oh, no, sorry. Scoreman is saying, having painting challenge really helped. If I wasn't in, then those imbecile imps wouldn't have got finished. That was the point of it, really. I don't want to make people feel kind of pressure to paint. I just want to try and give a little bit of kind of a bit of a nudge, a bit of encouragement to get the brushes out. Steve is saying, hashtag 40 minimum batch painting. God, I have to do them in 5s, mate. I can't do them in 40s. I was going to say I'll pull my hair out, but I'm just not sure I could do that, to be fair. I'll have to try sometime. Basil says, I'm your man, fella, if you ever want. To be honest, I've considered it before, Basil. I know I briefly kind of mentioned it to you a while ago. I think at some point I might have to, mate, just to kind of get some stuff done, or at least to try and get ahead, to buy me some time. Because in between kind of working full-time, working away, doing YouTube, family, everything else, it's the painting that takes the back seat, sadly, but I enjoy it, which is why I've kind of been reluctant to give it up, also because of the fact that I'm not making money as well. I think I assume that it's going to be really expensive, because I think it deserves to be expensive, if you know what I mean, because of the effort and the time it goes into it. Jack saying, deadlines are really good helping you focus. I think our heads get turned too easy to the shiny new stuff. No better feeling completing the project and having a full painted army on the table. It's an amazing feeling to have a fully painted army when you get to the end of a project. It really does feel good. But I certainly kind of personally work better under tight time scales. So even in my day-to-day work life, I tend to kind of come sliding across the line sideways and finish. I always finish on time. I always finish my projects on time, but I kind of work better with a bit of pressure at the end. That's just my natural kind of style, I guess. Buzzer there saying, "Miss waits for you, lad." Thanks, buddy. I might be in touch after all. Yeah, I think I think commission painting deserves to be paid well. You know what I mean? You've got materials, the time it takes. Even if you're a quick painter, like Steve there, even if you're a quick painter, it's still time and effort. And I think people just don't appreciate what goes into it. Do you know what I mean? Sadly. Yeah. So how are we doing for time? I see when I look in the light on the camera there, it stops me focusing when I'm looking back at to see what time it is. 20 minutes left. We're not doing all right. Not being too bad. Cold coffee now as well. I've got a dry throat. I need to have a drink, but my coffee's gone cold. Oh, yeah. Not what you need. Not what you need. So, what about older games? And so we were chatting about that as well. What about older games? Are there any games out there that you see kind of on offer? Do you pick up older games? A good example, I think, is something like Rune Wars. When I was at the event in the summer, kind of UK Games Expo and Salute, Rune Wars was really cheap. Like you could pick up what was the 90 quid starter set for like 30 quid, 25 quid. And I was so tempted because, well, one, it's cheap. But it's still just stuff to paint, you know. It's new models to paint. It's a slightly different game to play. Like those starter sets are sometimes enough just to be a game in their own right. So, what's your thoughts about things like that? If you see something going that cheap, do you avoid it because you think like there'll never be anybody to play against, or do you look at that as an opportunity to get something quite cheap to maybe paint up like a 2-player starter set just to have a bit of something else to play, something else to paint, maybe? What do you think about that? Skullmunch said, yeah, I say that, Dale, and was tempted. Yeah, I saw it a couple of times, and I think I only talked myself out of it because I just thought it's probably another game I probably won't paint and won't play. Another one, and I kick myself every time for this, was that the Troll Trader at UK Games Expo had Star Saga for like 25 quid or something like that. And I was thinking, it mustn't be much cop if they're kind of selling it off that price. I guess it's only afterwards that I kind of like did a bit of digging about it and realised that actually it's a pretty decent game. And I kicked myself for not picking that up. Because at some point I'll probably pay over the odds for it. Well, not over the odds, but I'll probably pay full price for it because it's something I'd quite like to play at some point. I keep hearing how it's kind of... it's Dungeon Saga with some of the kind of like rough edges kind of like sort of smoothed out. Neil says, painting is mainly what I do now, but I need to see that I'm progressing in skill. That's interesting, Neil, because I'm probably less about improving now and more about getting faster, like getting my output up. Did you? I can't remember, Neil. Did you go to the Warlords on Thursday for the slow grow campaign? Are you still in that, mate? Skullman says he got won over by the Walking Dead core set that were flogging for 20 quid instead. See, that's another one. Now, me personally, somebody who plays Walking Dead, could absolutely 100% see the value in that and think, I can't believe they're selling it that cheap. It is such a good game. It's well supported. It's still a kind of an active game. I couldn't believe they were selling them off that cheap. But for anybody who doesn't know about Walking Dead, they potentially might think, well, maybe the game's dead, maybe nobody wants to play it. A little bit like I was about Star Saga at the time. Tim says, Rune Wars, nice minis, but the player wasn't right. Bit like X-Wing, dials and movement templates. I've never played it, Tim, but I remember seeing a demo of it on a table. It was quite interesting. Like I liked how they'd try to do something different with the dials and stuff, but I can imagine it gets quite kind of bogged down a little bit. Hal says, well, time for me to go hop on the tractor and move the 50 centimetres of snow we got dumped last night. Thanks for the vine, Andy. Be well all. Well, Thank you very much for popping in, Hal. I hope you're nice and safe when you're out there in the snow as well. Take care, and no doubt we'll chat again soon, buddy. Mark says, might just start saving now and go to next year's expo for the deal only. That used to be the reason I used to go to Salute, but actually the last time I was there, I was a little bit disappointed actually that I think sort of some of the online pricing is just as good now. However, Troll Trader especially had some fantastic deals on. I think I'm potentially going to give Salute a miss next year, and I think I'm gonna definitely going to go to UK Games Expo, but I'm going to make a real full weekend of it, get a hotel nearby, and get games in on an evening and stuff like that as well. Really kind of make the most of it, I think, this year. Matt says, sometimes the problem when they're getting old and cheap is that they're going to be dropped and not supported anymore, but always good for cheap models. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think there's always that perception that it's like if it's cheap, it's either bad and nobody wants it, or it's kind of it's on a downward spiral. But I think standalone stuff like Star Saga, I guess, and even like The Walking Dead, it really surprises me those kind of things were on that deal. Maybe they just massively overbought and had a load of stock to get rid of, but maybe I need to look at them a bit differently next time. Steve says, I've bought older stuff to use in other games, and that's a great point, mate, actually, or old minis off eBay trade groups, as the aesthetic doesn't suit not newer players. Yeah, that's a point, actually, as well. I mean, the other side of it is you can strip models as well. It doesn't matter how badly painted they are. You know, if you dip them, you can get that paint off there as well. Steve says, I hate painting. You hate painting? I can't believe that for 1 second, mate. You hate painting. But I need painted forces for the GBHL League and GW games. I can't believe you hate painting, mate. The stuff you get through. Mark said he got the Walking Dead Collector's Edition at Salute cheaply. That was phenomenal price, that. I know Mantic was selling it recently on the Black Friday sale. It's an absolutely stonking price you picked that up for, mate. Skullmoon said, I thought at the time it must be a rubbish game if it's that much off. I'm glad I took the plunge. That's my point, mate. Honestly, I probably passed up 2 or 3 things they had for sale because that was how I viewed it. Is it's that cheap. It's had that much discount on it. It can't be any good. But yeah, you live and learn, eh? Neil says, life got in the way of Warlords, I'm afraid. Trying to get down next time. I knew you were trying to get down, buddy. I wasn't sure if you'd actually made it or not, but Thursdays are always bad for me, but I will try and kind of get down there. We'll maybe have a game or something at some point, mate. How are we doing now? So last 10, 15 minutes now. So, folks, next Monday, after the success of the Hayes Negan live stream and the Walking Dead live stream, everybody seemed to really enjoy them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate every other week now. So 1 week we'll have a sit and natter like this, where you can sit and kind of do your bit painting and just kind of have a chat or whatever, where we'll have different subjects. The other week we'll probably do a playthrough, and it might be a solo play, something I play just on my own, or it might be something Jason comes and joins me with, and we might do a bit of Vanguard or a bit of Kill Team, or maybe some more Walking Dead, that kind of stuff. So yeah, let me know what kind of games you'd like to see. Let me know if you'd like to see any particular game, especially if you'd like to see card games on the stream as well. I know we were chatting before, Sean, about Keyforge being on one of the Monday streams as well. I think that might be quite cool. So yeah, they might be quite good. Steve says, I suppose hate's too strong a word. I dislike painting. I've always enjoyed converting and playing more. Yeah, I enjoy playing more, I think, definitely. Sean says, have you tried Red Dead Redemption 2 online beta? No, I haven't. And the reason I haven't is because I traded it in last week. So, heresy, I can hear you saying. I traded it in before I realised the beta was coming. But I just wasn't playing it. It's a game that it deserves time. You need to put a couple of hours aside and really kind of get into it. Where when I tend to play, I tend to kind of game for maybe an hour max, something like that. I'll do it in kind of bite-sized chunks, if you like. So I traded it in, and I picked up Battlefield 5 instead. And I've been playing that online with Jason, and I'm quite enjoying that, actually. It was pretty cool. I'm going to be playing that again tomorrow night, I think. So stuff where I can kind of just dive in, and things like Black Ops, Battlefield, things like FIFA, stuff where I can dive in for kind of half an hour's game and an hour's game and just kind of fit with me better. Red Dead was just that little bit too slow for me, I'll be honest. I wasn't really enjoying the kind of trekking about on the horse everywhere. It felt like Grand Theft Auto slowed down, and it didn't make it a bad game if you had kind of 2 or 3 hours to sit and play. I can imagine you get immersed in going hunting and all that kind of stuff, but it just felt a little slow for me personally, mate. Stephen Bonner says strip poker. Are you volunteering to come and play, mate? Is that what it is? You want to just come up to the northeast and get your bits out? Mark says I'd watch Keyforge. Matt says Kill Team. Yeah. Top table game and he's in. Says better late than never. Howdy guys. Good evening, mate. How you doing? Jack saying live play Hero Quest like you did with Hayes Negan. I'll definitely going to do another kind of like an interactive play again, but I need to find a way to make it a little bit faster. Maybe do it like on a Discord server or in a even maybe, let's think. Maybe even in like Facebook Messenger or something like that. Just some way to try and keep the chat a bit more up to speed. Robert says, well, got to go finish hanging Christmas lights. Everyone have a great week. Nice one, buddy. Stay safe when you're getting them lights up, mate, and I'll speak soon. Skullman says, I'll close the door on the way out. Are you enjoying it, buddy? Are you playing a lot of it? What do you think of the online stuff at the minute? Jack says, I'll be the barbarian with a broadsword. Chris says, I've shared the blog post in the group. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Steve says, I'm game, do elves and only show my top half. Yeah, not the lunchbox, mate. Eh? Not the lunchbox. Tim says, Red Dead's why I failed the November Pain Challenge. Game of the decade. Honestly, it just shows, mate, how different people can kind of view different games. When I had more time to game like that, I used to love games like Oblivion, games like trying to think now, just Skyrim, that kind of stuff. Just games where you pour your heart and soul in them and you play them. Like I really enjoyed playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That's another game where I felt like you had to play those kind of long sessions. Now my gaming sessions are so they're so much shorter now. They're almost like snippets now. I just feel like I can appreciate Red Dead for the game it is, for just how much effort's gone into it, for how beautiful it looked. It was just a little bit slow paced for me personally, I'll be honest. To be honest, I've got Skyrim now for PSVR, and that's another game I used to absolutely love that game, and now I love playing it in VR, but I just don't play long enough to kind of get through those missions and to explore the world like I used to do. It's weird how my tastes have changed. I think the other side of it is, well, doing the YouTube stuff, and I'm a lot more into kind of my gaming and painting and that kind of stuff now, and making videos. That's probably why my console gaming's took a little bit of a dip. It was one of the reasons why I set up that other channel as well. I wanted to try and kind of force myself to get back into it, because I really do enjoy it, and when I play online, I love it. Scullman says, I love it, but I like getting my teeth stuck into something. Yeah, I think if you're quite happy to sit for 3 or 4 hours and lose yourself in that world, it's probably the perfect game. And I'd probably agree with Tim saying game of the decade, but for me personally, it's just my personal taste. And what I thought is, when it goes online, I'll probably buy it again later, not expecting it to go online like a week later. But to be fair, it cost me like £5 to try the game. I paid £45 for it. I played it for a while. I traded it in for £40. So it's only really cost me a £5, and I got my money's worth out of it in that respect. Scumman says, I'm ashamed to admit I'm back into World of Warcraft at the moment. That's having a bit of a revitalisation at the minute, isn't it? They're trying to do a little bit about trying to kind of kickstart that away again, aren't they? To get bits and pieces done, isn't it? I'm sure I'd read somewhere they're doing something about kind of resetting. Maybe I imagined this. Are they doing something with resetting kind of the entry into the game? Steve says, with a young family, my time spent more playing versus the oldest, with the youngest helping me and painting, as I can't get out as often. Yeah, that was certainly when I got more into console gaming and stuff, was when my twins were first younger as well. It was how I got into painting miniatures as well, really, because I used to play a lot of sport. I used to go out with mates and stuff. I used to go out with my wife, obviously, at the time. And then when the little ones came along, obviously 90% of that stopped. So I played a lot of Call of Duty 2. I played a lot of Project Gotham Racing back then. Used to love all Halo. Used to love playing all that stuff online. And then I started painting miniatures, really, just as a bit, because I think I just played too much. I was looking for something else to do as well, and painting miniatures was where I ended up. So, right, how are we doing? 5 minutes to go. Cool. So, just a bit of an update on videos and stuff. So, if you haven't seen the Winter's End stuff and you're interested in how the tournament went, you can certainly kind of learn quite a bit from some of the top table game at the end. There's be some real tactics and stuff in that kind of game. What else have we had this week? We've had the Infinity video. So if you've not seen that, check it out. That's a 2-player introductory starter set for Infinity. I'm going to be doing some videos on that about kind of the missions in there. There's 5 missions in that set, and each mission introduces a kind of an extra 1 or 2 rules. So it eases you into the game to kind of to ease you into what I think a lot of people think is a very, very difficult rule set. I'm not denying it is, but I think that I think the way they've designed these starter sets or these introductory sets is great. The introductory sets also kind of are standalone, so even if you only ever played with that introductory set or added some models and just played those rules, you don't have to kind of scale up as well. So from that point of view, it's I think they're like 24 by 32. I think kill team size. The mats that come with that game are that size, and it comes with cardboard terrain as well. The models are absolutely beautiful quality. I keep saying it every time I get the chance. I've just base coated them today as well, primed them black, and then zenithal highlighted them, and it's really brought out the details. They look amazing. I can't wait to get some paint on them. So yeah, check that out. Also check out the video for Crowdfunder as well. So Crowdfunder is the card game that's coming next year from Riverhorse Games. Riverhorse being owned by Alessio Cavatori. Check that out. I've also just linked that up on Board Game Geek today as well, because the Crowdfunder game went on the Board Game Geek today. So check that out as well. That's a nice fun card game that you can get involved in as well. They're going to have a big push with the community to get the community designing cards for the game. There's going to be competitions in there as well. So the little kind of pink or purple hippo, which is the kind of the main kind of a mascot of Riverhorse Games. There's going to be some competitions to name the mascot and things. So yeah, really worth getting involved in that. So check out that video. And yeah, that's probably about it. Let's have a quick look in the chat and we'll start to wrap it up. Skullmunch is saying they are making it easier for newer players to get into it. They've revamped the leveling system now, so you can level in any zone you want. That's what I'd read. I can honestly say I've never played World of Warcraft, but I listened to a podcast. If anybody listens to podcasts, here's a podcast recommendation for you. So it's not gaming based, or not miniature gaming based. It's called The Wizard and the Bruiser. A couple of American guys, and they have a different topic each episode, where they really kind of delve into the history and they really research it. So I listened to one last night, which was about Super Mario 2, the game. Really interesting to see where Nintendo came from as a business. That was quite a good episode. But they did one recently on World of Warcraft that I was listening to, and that was where I'd heard some of the stuff I've just been chatting about. But I've never played the game, so I don't know much about it. And Stuart says, I gave into Battlefield 5 and I'm garbage, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm garbage too, mate, as well. Are you on PlayStation? Are you on PC? Or are you on Xbox, mate? Let me know, because if you're on PlayStation, I'll play it on PlayStation. If you're on PlayStation, let me know, because you might as well join in a game at some point, because I'm garbage as well. So, I think that's it. We'll kind of wrap it up now then. We're getting to 1:30 now, so thank you everyone for watching tonight. If you feel like you kind of think I do some good stuff and you want to support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. There'll be a link in the description below. If you are interested in getting any of the t-shirts, so the BlackJack Painting Challenge t-shirts, for example, head across to the Teespring store. There'll be a link in the description as well. And any profits from the BlackJack Painting Challenge t-shirts is all going to charity as well. And at the end of the challenge, anybody that's entered will get to vote on which charity that goes to. Anything else I want to plug, want to cover? Tabletop Weekender as well. I've talked about it a couple of times on the channel. Head across to Tabletop Weekender on Facebook. Check it out. £25 a ticket. Please consider supporting it. There's lots of stuff being announced, but there's more to come as well. And I'll be doing a video. I said I would do one last week, but kind of time got away from me. I'll be doing a video to try and frame it a bit better than me just rambling away at the camera now. So I'll say thank you to Phil Wilkinson there. Says, cheers, Andy. Enjoyed the night all. Thanks to Tim. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Stuart. He's on PS4 Chaos Sponge. I think I might have added you, mate, actually. If I haven't, I certainly will. Redwell says, I play Warhammer ROR MMO. I don't know if I know what the ROR is, but obviously there's a Warhammer MMO as well. Never played that, mate. I'll have to give it a try sometime. Shaggy says, see you, Andy, bye all. Mark says, cheers, Andy. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I will see you all in the next video.